Hello.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Trash Talk. I just want to say that we're just going to be talking about entertainment, stuff like that. I know Dan over here is echoing, and that's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. But I just want to say, this is the first time we're ever doing something like this. Not many people are going to be watching, obviously, and that's cool. If you catch us after the fact, welcome again. I just sent out a link to my family. So, Dad, if you're watching, hi, I'm trying to be a big YouTuber talking about Star Wars. Are you proud of me yet? Okay, so I'm joined by a very good friend, Dan. Say hello, Dan.
Friend is a strong word, but hey, everyone.
Okay, so we're having some technical difficulties, and Dan can't join us. What a shame. I'm sorry for all that.
Oh, man. Weird how that happened.
Oh, you're back. Wow.
Oh,
it's weird how that happened. It's like your life is technically in my hands, which it is.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
Can't say anything negative about you, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking we just introduce ourselves. So what can people know about you? Yeah. Good.
I don't know.
We're professionals.
Yes, professionals. We do this, for all my life.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just, my name's Dan. I don't know. I've been a fan of, what should I say? I watch a lot of movies and TV shows. Fan of Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, anything nerdy like that. Have a lot of opinions, so happy to share them and see what people think.
Yeah, we've both been very good, very, very big Star Wars fans, especially. I think we both are pretty much aligned with just about everything, almost everything. We disagree on a lot of things as well. But yeah, I, for one, I'm a massive fan of Star Wars, the Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, all that nerdy stuff. Pretty much anything with wizards at this point. Marvel, I like Marvel, all that. And yeah, I'm just ready to get into this. Yeah, Dan, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I figured we'd get into this first topic here. Are you familiar with Charles Martinet? You should be. All right, so we're experiencing technical difficulties again. So for those of you who don't know, Charles Martinet is the voice actor for Mario. He's been doing it for about 39 years, I believe.
Wow.
About 39 years. Yes, that is correct. I'm looking that up now because I can't remember, but I think 39 years. But long story short, he is retiring. I don't know if you heard about that, but yes, he is retiring from 32 years. My apologies. 32 years. He is retiring as Mario.
Wow,
do you have any thoughts about that?
It's well-deserved, right? 32 years. That's a long time. How many games?
Very long time.
I guess we could look it up quick. How many games did he actually star in?
Yeah, I don't know.
Realistically, over the 30
you can pull that
years.
up. Yeah, that's a very long time. What a legend. I don't even know what was his first voice acting gig. Was that Mario 64?
64? Nah.
Was it earlier than that?
I would imagine.
Because 64 was the first 3D sort of open world, right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking this up. Yeah, he was the original, right? With the original Nintendo.
Yeah, he was
right?
he's
So
the only guy that's ever voiced Mario
yeah.
aside from Chris Pratt recently, but
Yeah, here we go. He has 200. I'm trying to see here. He's 209. Excuse me, 211 credits on IMDb. Now, not all of it obviously is
well, yeah,
Super Mario, but it looks like most of it is.
Mario.
Oh yeah, you and your Mario. Yeah, I mean, I don't have an exact number, but I would assume it looks like close to 200, or around there credits total between all the video games. And I mean, I'm not entirely. Was there like I think there was like a show, wasn't there, back in like the 80s?
There was a show. I don't know if it was like a 2D animation, but I don't know if he actually voiced in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but I find it very interesting that like he's retiring, because it's obviously it's a major franchise. I mean, what are they going to do moving forward?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm most curious about. I mean, because I was thinking about it the other day. Would they find another voice actor? Because the funny thing is, Mario doesn't really talk. Not much. I mean, he talks, but like it's more or less the same phrases as he's always done. He doesn't have like full on dialogue in these games. So what does that mean? Like, are they just going to reuse? I feel like they'd have to set something up. Like maybe he'd have to sign something to allow them to use his voice, use his past recordings to put in these other games. But the problem with that is, you're kind of just being lazy at that point, I guess. Because if they wanted to make another, Super Mario Galaxy 4, 3 or 4 or whatever, like would they just reuse his voice?
Yeah, like would they have to go through every piece of audio that they have,
right,
and like splice it together to make it, sound like it's just him recording?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they probably could, because like you
they
said,
could.
I mean,
I feel like they've done that before. Well, they certainly have. I mean, they did some audio sound bites for, just off the top of my head, that Miles Morales Across the Spider-Verse, with the Lego section, and it had what's his, I'm drawing a blank on his name. The guy who played Jameson, J.K. Simmons.
Yep.
They had some sound bites of his lines from, I believe, Spider-Man 2 in that little Lego section. Or maybe it was Spider-Man 1. I think it was Spider-Man 1 now I'm thinking about it. But, yeah.
Still, I mean, yeah. 30 years. That's older than us. I mean, that's an entire life, entire lifetime.
Right.
And I guess that's true, like you said. I mean, besides, like, let's it go. Like, what do you really need?
Go. But yeah, it's sorry, I'm just reading the private chat.
Nothing to see there.
Is this something you want me to share?
I mean, I see your message. Go ahead.
I'm gonna look, because I feel like. Oh, okay. Well, we'll get into that.
Some stuff later on.
Yeah. we'll get into that. We got a lot to talk about that.
Are you just do it before a quick tangent? Speaking of voice actors, you're not really a fan of Rick and Morty, are you?
I've watched the first season. I mean, it was okay. I did want to watch the rest of it, because I hear it gets better after season 1. But no, I haven't really watched it personally, the whole way through at least. But yeah, season 1 I watched. Okay.
Because I was going to say, I think they're on. Let me think. I think they finished season 6, and they're filming season 7. But it turns out that the main voice actor, what's his name, Justin Roiland, he voices Rick, Morty, and I think a couple other people on the show. So he's, you know, in terms of like the talent, he is right the main voices. Well, he actually there's like been a scandal against him. I guess he was sending inappropriate messages to underage fans and whatever was going on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and stuff like that. And so they fired him. So now I'm interested in what are they going to do? You know, like season 6 apparently was his last appearance. So I'm curious what they're going to do for season 7. Then are they just they're going to just replace him? Like, you know, try to find someone who sounds like him, right? Like an impersonator, or literally just replace it in general. Just find someone else to do it.
Well, I thought the show was canceled.
Oh no, still going. They signed like
because I know there was that video. It was like a satirical video, very disgusting satirical video that I don't really want to mention. But I mean, I don't know if you remember that with the baby.
Yeah.
I know there was that, but that was the writer. That was one of the writers on the show, and I heard that I was under the impression they were canceling the show because of that. But unless they just outright got rid of the writer. But
yeah, I mean, they're kind of maybe it's the writer. I forget now exactly what the allegations were. Maybe the writer got those messages, and then the voice actor got something else. It was something similar, but yeah, the two of them are a little, I don't know, a little weird.
Yeah,
there's very weird, fishy stuff going around. But yeah, I think they did get rid of the writer, and then, like I said, they just got rid of the voice actor. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Right?
They signed a deal for at least I think 10 seasons or 12 seasons, something like that. So realistically, they're going to keep going. But I don't know how. Are they going to find an impersonator, or are they just literally going to just have a different voice entirely?
Right.
Try to, because it's also a sci-fi comedy show. So I'm sure, if they really did change, if they wanted to just completely change the voice actors, they could probably have like some kind of, Rick made a device that alters reality and now everyone sounds different or something stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think I don't think they're going to really want to touch that. You know what I mean? They're just going to completely ignore it. I mean, they might make a joke about it, because it is a comedy show at the end of the day. So I'm fiddling with my phone right now. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't hear anything about that. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's just sad because it's like, I guess it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think the show is pretty funny. At least the first, I don't know, 2-3 seasons, I think are just hilarious. I mean, some of the other seasons, it kind of dips for me a little bit. It just doesn't feel the same. But still, it's, I don't know. For me, it's funny. It's hilarious. It's just like, damn. Right. Now there's, now with all that going on, it's like, I don't know. First of all, what's going to happen for the future of the show? But then secondly, it kind of hurts your enjoyment, retroactively, because now you hear the voices and you're like, okay, some of the jokes are like, oh man, that is a little weird. You know what I mean? Like now
that's like they just get rid of. Well, I mean, they're the writers of the show, but Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I think Matt Stone from South Park. You guys, like if they just got different voice actors. I mean, they're the writers, but they're the ones that make the show run. But yeah, it'd be like getting rid of them. Then it's just like you're hearing after so many years, you're hearing these same voices, and now they're not the same people. They all sound different. So
yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, I also wanted to talk about. I don't know. Well, we did talk about it a little bit, but this actually was. I think I found out about it Tuesday. I want to say it was Tuesday. I hate you. but yeah, no, they did. Now you made me lose my train of thought. Oh, Netflix. You hear about Netflix with their Amber Heard, Johnny Depp trial thing?
Oh, I heard a little bit.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So basically, there's this guy. I have his name put down here. I don't remember. Andy Signor. I've heard the name before, but I'm not too familiar with him. But apparently, he was reacting to. He was reacting to the Amber Heard Johnny Depp Netflix thing. I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of cared about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing for bigger reasons, but at the same time, they're both crazy. I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never have. I mean, I've told you many times I don't like Johnny Depp. He's just as crazy. I actually just found I came across a video of him. You know, Amber Heard was recording him. He was just slamming cabinets the whole time, throwing glasses on the floor and kicking the cabinets in, putting holes in them. Like, dude's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're both crazy. At this point, if you're from Hollywood, I'm just assuming you're nuts. But anyway, so this documentary comes out, and they decided to take YouTube videos, you know, from other people who were reacting to the trial and putting it in their Netflix series. So there's this guy, Andy Signor. I don't know what his YouTube channel name is. I don't know if he just goes by Andy Signor. I don't know. I literally know nothing about this guy. Like I said, I think I've heard the name before, but I don't care to remember. But he was reacting, or he put out a video or something, and he put clips. He included clips of his own YouTube videos that were actually in the Netflix documentary. Well, here he gets copyright claimed by Netflix.
Wait, so he made a YouTube video. They took his clips and put it in a documentary, and then they're copyright striking his YouTube channel because he has clips that are in the documentary that they took from him originally.
Right. So he's using his own. I don't know if it was because he was showing a trailer. I don't necessarily know the context, but he was just sharing the documentary, and he had his clips, specifically his clips that were pulled up from the documentary, and they copyright claimed him for it. Now, granted, I don't see a problem in using YouTube videos in your whatever, because technically that's filed under fair use. That's, you know, whatever. But the problem is that they were his videos and he's getting copyright claim. Like Netflix is essentially just stealing people's clips and then they're putting a copyright on it. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I thought that was very interesting. So he's facing, like, he got copyright claimed. So he's facing a strike, I believe. I'm not too familiar how that works on YouTube, but yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And, you know, it's kind of shitty because, again, that's not Netflix's original content. I don't see how that can be a thing. I don't know if this got resolved since when I heard about it, but yeah, it was just very interesting to me. And it just kind of shows how scummy Netflix really is.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, I guess, you know, we'd have to look more into it, but like, I'm curious if did they purposely copyright strike it? Or was it that, you know, some I don't know, some kind of automated
Algorithm or
the
something.
algorithm, like just picked it up. Because I mean, as unfortunate as it is, I guess sometimes that's kind of stuff happens. I guess.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
to be
I mean,
fair,
I didn't really think about that.
you know what I mean? Yeah, like maybe they didn't try that, but it's still kind of weird. You'd think they would put in, some kind of term like, hey, if you see this on the internet, don't don't copyright strike it.
Right. But yeah, it's crazy to me. But then what do you expect from a streaming platform, such as Netflix, that likes to come out with movies where little girls no older than 12 are shaking their asses in front of grown ass men?
Yeah.
How's that working out for them? How many subscribers did they lose after that?
Well, it's bad too, because they used to promote it, and now you can't. It's like like blacklisted. Like you'd have, like, even when you search for it, you have to really like.
Yeah, it's still on there, but they make it hard as hell to find it.
Yeah. So that they put it out with full confidence, and then they got destroyed by the fans. Everyone's like, "No, this is terrible," and they were like, "Oh, okay, sorry," and they had to backtrack.
Yep. So, I don't know. I've been checked out of Netflix ever since the Cuties incident. I just wanted to be done with it. I unsubscribed after that and never looked back. There was someone I was working with the other night. He was saying about this show on Netflix, and I was just like, yeah, probably not going to watch it because it's Netflix, but.
Yeah, it's like, sure, it's great, but it's Netflix.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Well, I mean, I don't even know how great it is, because I mean, look at things like Stranger Things or The Witcher. I mean, Stranger Things only had 2 good seasons. I didn't even watch season 4 yet, but I didn't care for season 3. Season 2 was meh. Season 1 was good. But outside of that, I mean, the only reason I subscribed back to it was because of the Daredevil, the Defenders. Yeah, all the Defenders stuff, and obviously the Punisher. But now that's gone forever.
Yeah, I think streaming services in general seem to be taking hits in these last couple years. You know what I mean? Right. I don't actually know the exact numbers, but I mean, from what I keep hearing is that they're losing a lot of subscribers just across the board. I mean, Max, Hulu and Netflix. I mean, all, Disney Plus, they're all seemingly losing subscribers, some more than others. But I think just in general, maybe it's just not a good business model. It was fun during the pandemic to binge a bunch of shows, but go back to normal, I don't know.
So that's kind of my thing, right? So with them relying on these streaming services, we have seen more movies coming out on streaming services than we have in theaters. Some of these, it's like, yeah, maybe that should be released in the movie theaters, and they want to talk about, they wanted to talk about how the movie theaters are dying. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're not making good movies to begin with, and you're relying on your streaming services. I mean, I don't want to get too early into it. Well, fuck it. We'll get into. We'll start segueing into this shit, because I do this. The whole point of this, I want to talk about fucking Star Wars. So essentially, they do Star Wars and Marvel for Disney. Disney Plus has these Star Wars and Marvel shows, but they have such simplistic plots. Their plots are the most simple. It can be told in 2 hours or even less in some cases. So why are we getting 30-minute episodes, like 6 to 8 30-minute episodes?
I think sometimes even longer.
Right.
I think they're close to an hour.
Episode 1 of Ahsoka was almost an hour. It was like 52 minutes. And
episode 2
episode was 45.
I was gonna say, yeah, like they're both, pretty close to an hour.
Right.
Yeah. And that's my biggest thing is like a lot of these, Disney Plus shows, like I always say, it's 6 episodes, almost an hour each episode. And, whenever I see, I don't know, some kind of, bad CGI or something, I'll be like, well, people will try to tell me, well, they're trying to stretch the budget. You got to make it fit for 6 episodes.
Right.
Which is a valid statement. But my thing is like, instead of stretching the budget for 6 episodes, why don't you take the exact same budget and just make a Disney Plus movie, right? Condense it from like 6 hours to like 2 hours, and you can make the quality so much better. Why not just do that?
Yep. And
look at like Moon Knight. I mean, I haven't even watched. I watched like I think just the first episode, but again, from what I've heard, is like he almost barely is in actual costume. Like he's just, you know what I mean? Like Moon Knight himself like barely shows up in the show.
Right.
Besides like the first and last episodes, I mean the ones in the middle, he almost doesn't show up at all. And it's like, that's boring,
Yeah, isn't that funny? They do this Moon Knight, not just Moon Knight. They do it with all these superheroes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like they'll come out with a superhero movie that should traditionally have someone with a mask. Spider-Man is a great example of this. How often do we see Tom Holland in these movies with his mask on? Half the time, it's just he's always got his mask off. He had that stupid Iron Boy spider suit,
mm-hmm.
and it was always just flipping on like the Iron Man suit. Just always flipping on and off.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too. I mean,
but his identity is supposed to be the most important thing.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing too with some of these, superhero shows and movies is I miss real, actual like costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tom Holland, like Spider-Man, right? Like it's all CGI.
Yep.
Right, a CGI mask, and it's just like you could tell, right? Mm-hmm. Like I'm fine with CGI, like a little bit of CGI if you want to, like, because people say like the eyes, right, like shrinking, that's cool, it's very comic accurate, right? Like that's cool, sure, but the rest of them, it's like, why can't you just have them in a, like the other Spider-Man movies, just like have them in an actual practical suit,
But you're also forgetting, Dan, that they also use a green screen when they're just supposed to be on the streets of New York. Instead of just filming on the streets of New York, they could just throw a green screen behind them.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. Not to mention, is that photo real of Tom Holland who's supposed to like kiss that what's her face, Zendaya? Is that real where it's like that person's in a green screen suit? Because I want to say it's fake.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look at the picture.
Yeah, because it was like the implication was that Zendaya wasn't actually there; that she was just that they just had a stand-in for the kiss scene.
I mean, it probably. I mean, I don't know, but I would assume she probably was really there. That was probably just like maybe like a stand-in for. Just to make sure the shot, like they're in the middle of the shot and stuff like that.
Right.
Maybe. I would assume that when they filmed it, it was real.
Yeah. I mean, do you have it pulled up?
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
I think
if anyone's watching, we can show that.
Let me.
Oh, she's such a boomer.
Oh. What am I doing now? Oh yeah. Yeah, I think you have to approve it.
Yeah.
Since your lordship is the in charge of everything.
Right about that.
But yeah, so this is a blown up picture of it.
To be honest with you, looking at it now, it does look
right. Like I don't think it's real.
Fake.
Yeah.
I want to say it looks fake. I think they were just doing that. Whoever came up with that, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I don't think that's real.
Yeah, I would. I would. I mean, obviously, you never know when it comes to some of these movies. You never know, but I
Right.
think it's fake. I think they. I don't see why they would even, unless she was like sick or something. I don't know why you wouldn't just film the scene normally.
Right. So, yeah, that's weird. But so yeah, let's talk Star Wars.
Star Wars.
So Dan, have you watched Ahsoka?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Good answer.
Yeah. I was.
What are your thoughts?
I tried to put it off as much as possible, but I was like, all right. At some point, you gotta just bite. You just gotta do it.
Yeah, sure do.
Yeah,
I don't know if go into spoilers quite yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe just for now, just like an overview. I mean, generally, I don't know. To be honest, I found it kind of boring. I just feel like there was not much. Not only was not a lot was really happening, but also I feel like a lot of the characters, I guess / actors, they just weren't very expressive.
Right.
Like it just seemed very bland. It seemed like they were just monotone, just reading, words off a page.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very like it took me out of it. I was like, I'm trying to relate to the characters. I'm trying to feel something. I'm trying to, oh man, whatever, something big is happening, and it's like their facial expressions, their just like I said, their how how they pitch like their voice. It just was so monotone. It was so bland.
Right.
And I just couldn't get into it. I was like, yeah, I don't really understand.
Well, the thing is they bring in these characters from all the animated shows, but they don't when you have someone like Rosario Dawson or the homewrecker herself, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who, by the way, slept with Ewan McGregor and destroyed his whole family. Broke up his whole family. I don't know why that's relevant. I felt like that was something we should talk about, I mean,
but so bring it up, right?
Yeah, not a big deal. I mean, he's a raging feminist. He's a male feminist, right?
That's
so
true.
There's that. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with this decision, I guess. But
yeah.
You get these two together to play Ahsoka and Hera, and I know you don't really know these characters, but when you listen to the voice actresses who play these characters in the show, it's like night and day, where they're more energetic when they're speaking in the animated shows, but when it's live action, they're just very stoic and just uninterested in what's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't really, and that kind of brings another point, but even just keep it aside, I haven't really watched the Clone Wars or Rebels. Haven't really watched too much. I think I've watched maybe, a couple episodes, but not enough to really even say I know the characters. And I do understand that, some of these shows, like they're supposed to be big time gaps, right? Like Ahsoka in season 1 of the Clone Wars is like what, she's like a teenager, right? Or like a young teen, like a kid or something.
Right.
Versus now she's obviously an adult. And I get it. People can change as they get older and mature. But I completely agree. Like, I don't know, when I even just watching, from what I remember watching of the Clone Wars, she was just so much more expressive. It's like you can absolutely tell what she was feeling, when she said something, she meant it. Now it's very stoic and I mean, even their facial expressions during critical moments is just so so bland. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what's happening.
They don't look like they're there for anything but the money,
Yeah.
It's like they couldn't give a shit. So it's annoying. And while we're on the subject of boring characters, let's talk about the Dark Jedi apprentice girl. I don't know what her name is, but she just looks very, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like she asks she asks these questions like, "Oh, what's going to happen to us?" Like she's supposed to be scared in a way, but like she's not portraying that. Her facial expression. Does she even blink in these 2 episodes? Like I feel like there was like a fly or something that just started buzzing and just stopped and landed on her eye. You know,
Yeah,
her eyes were just open so wide the whole time, which fine, whatever. But I don't remember her blinking at all.
I don't know. I actually never thought of that. Kind of true. Like, I know her face didn't change. Like, it doesn't matter if she was doing
doesn't change her facial expression. She'll be, in an epic lightsaber battle, and she's just like, clashing with someone, like, just
fighting
nothing.
for life. Just
yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Apparently, her character name is Shin Hati.
Sure.
Shin, and then Hati. Sure.
Haiti? They named her after Haiti.
Oh, shit. I didn't think of that. Well, what was that? Yeah, what was that? Oh my God. What is it called? That like cat thing?
Oh, the Loth Cat. Or Loth Cat or something like that.
And why is it called that? I mean, is that a very
well, you see, it's
unique name?
It's a cat, right? And this is gonna blow your mind. This is why Dave Filoni is the master. This is why Dave Filoni is so loved by Star Wars fans.
Oh yeah.
He made a cat, put it on this planet called Lothal, and named it a Loth Cat.
Man, that's so original.
It is.
How do you come up with that? How do you even put that together?
Right. I mean, like, it really puts George Lucas to shame. You have characters like Palpatine, Qui-Gon Jinn. You come up with the Gungans. Maybe I shouldn't bring up the Gungans, but you come up with the Twi'leks or Rancors or anything like that. Let's have a Loth Cat. Let's put a Loth Cat in there because it's on Lothal.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? So, gotta love it. But it's okay, though.
No, he's going to save Star Wars.
Right. It's going to save Star Wars. I also want to say that, let me see if I can share my screen. Let's see. I guess I want to find the right article here. Oh, yes. This is the one I want. Let me share my screen here. Oh, man. I don't know how to do it. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Yes.
Oh, boomer.
Yes. So, did you hear that Ahsoka proves that Star Wars has long been a galaxy where women can be heroes? So, let's forget about Padme or Leia or Aayla Secura, Adi Gallia. Let's forget about them because Ahsoka is going to know they can be heroes. Or I'm sorry, they can be heroes, right?
Heroes.
It's so stunning and so brave of them. When Ahsoka Tano crashed into Anakin Skywalker's life as his newly assigned Padawan apprentice, which shouldn't have been a thing in 2008's animated Star Wars The Clone Wars, she's changed Star Wars forever. She sure did. That's when they said, you know what? We don't care about any of the continuity errors. We don't give a shit about anything. Mace Windu didn't trust Anakin to spy on Chancellor Palpatine, but they sure as hell trust Anakin to teach the next generation of Jedi. That makes a whole lot of sense. Much like her master, the teenager was reckless, impulsive, stubborn, and didn't always follow the rules. She was also the first female Jedi protagonist that audiences got to see in action on screen in a franchise that until pretty recently held lightsaber-wielding users for the Force in the highest regard. What the hell does that mean? She was the first female protagonist that until pretty recently held lightsaber-wielding users of the Force in the highest regard. So, again, we're just going to forget about Aayla Secura and Adi Gallia. Those are only two, by the way. Mm-hmm. Let's also mention, let's also forget that there was Mara Jade, but that's okay. Yeah. So what are your thoughts?
well, first of all I agree that it's silly to me that it's like, oh, this proves that women could be heroes in Star Wars. And it's like you said, even taking out the, some of the, create like the names that only like super fans would know, even just mainstream names like Leia, Padme. I mean, you're seriously telling me that, you know what I mean? Like, this is the first time we get a strong female, you know what I mean, in the show. Oh, did you leave? Oh, I guess no, you might have left. I don't know. But oh well, I'll keep going. But yeah, so just to me, it's like I don't understand. We had strong female leads. I mean, I shouldn't say leads, but we had strong females in Star Wars in the past, in the main movies. And then, like you said, there's also plenty of stuff, even within the EU, that as far as female Jedi, like you said, Mara Jade, or even how about Jaina Solo, right? She's like, she kind of, I mean, not to get into, I don't know if people care about the EU too much nowadays, but I mean, she ends up, at least in the Force or Legacy of the Force books, she's like the main hero at the end, I mean, it's like, what more do you want, And it's just, I don't know, it's just funny to me that like we get one show about Ahsoka. Now it's she's paved the way.
Yeah, right. She's the beacon of hope. She is actually, they couldn't work out Rey. So we had to have someone else be Space Jeebus and have her be just the best at everything. She is the beacon of hope. She's likable because she has flaws like a regular character should. But again, I can't wait to show this one because, of course, I got 3 articles here that I love. I absolutely love. Let's see. Yes, this one. I can't wait. Oh man, get the hell out of here. Ahsoka might just fix the prequels. I remember that. That was great back in the day. Which, don't get me wrong. What's that?
Let's see. What does it say? Because it was a little bit delayed for me.
Oh, okay. Let me bring it back up. Ahsoka might weigh Clone Wars. So,
okay.
As someone who liked the Clone Wars when it came out, when I first watched it, not necessarily when it came out, but when I first watched it, as someone who actually was beginning to like the Clone Wars, I can confidently say that the Clone Wars is not canon. Rebels is not canon. Anything that Disney has done in recent years is not canon. How can it be? Ahsoka, they even weaved Ahsoka into Revenge of the Sith. Somehow.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I mean, Ahsoka.
Oh, I didn't even read this. Dave Filoni, the Star Wars continuity doctor. What?
Thank you, Dave Filoni.
Oh, thank you. You have saved Star Wars. You and Jon Favreau are the best. I love you guys.
There's no continuity errors with them at all.
Yeah, right. There's nothing wrong with their continuity.
Nope, not even
If
one.
Watching Ahsoka feels a bit like walking in on the middle of a story instead of the beginning, that's because it kind of is. That's the problem, isn't it? Isn't that the problem with this show? Because they decided to make a sequel series of an animated show, but instead of making it animated, they decided to go live action with it. So really, you're confusing the hell out of a majority of the fans that don't even care that much about Star Wars. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong?
A lot of the regular fans, I mean, including me, like I didn't watch the animated shows. I don't know what's going on when I was watching the Ahsoka show. I was like, I don't know who this is. I don't know why this is important versus this person and that. And yeah, it was very confusing. They didn't explain anything. And like you said, the shows, the shows are animated. This is live action. The shows were made for kids, right? Heavily, like, a lot of the silly, like, humor and things were made for kids.
Right.
Now we have a serious Ahsoka show. It's like, how many people do you expect to actually understand all these references and backstory,
Right. Reuniting its cast. Sorry, I'm just kind of skimming through this. That said, it is a follow-up to plot threads introduced in the second season of The Mandalorian. Also, let's not talk about the Book of Boba Fett or anything like that. Remember when the Book of Boba Fett was coming out and everyone was so hyped about it?
Oh, yeah. Boba Fett, oh my God. He's back.
I remember how exciting that was for Star Wars fans. We were getting, to see Boba Fett come back. It's canon now that he's alive. I guess what I'm trying to say is death doesn't really seem to matter in Star Wars anymore. I mean, you had Darth Maul come back. Darth Maul, he got cut in half, literally in half. I don't know how you're supposed to live through that. Oh, that's right. He was too angry to die.
Too angry to die. It's like, how?
He was too angry at Obi-Wan.
like how? Like, you know what I mean? It's understandable for, like, Anakin, right? He got his limbs cut off. He got burned. That's a pretty substantial injury that should kill you. But okay, he was angry enough to survive. Fine, you get it. But I mean, Darth Maul was literally cut in half, like through his spine, right? He has no, he has no hips, no nothing. It's like, how do you?
He has no asshole.
He has no asshole? Oh my God! like how do you? I don't care how angry you are. How do you survive that?
Right. And that, isn't that fucking funny?
That's no asshole.
I just think about it. I was actually thinking about it last night, about how death has no consequence in Star Wars anymore. Doesn't matter if they die. Well, if they're force sensitive, they can use the force to come back. Unless you're Qui-Gon Jinn, of course, or unless you're a male, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, death just doesn't really seem to matter in Star Wars anymore, because, but all that aside, I was also thinking about how Darth Maul just wants revenge. So his story in the Clone Wars, I actually thought was the best part of the Clone Wars was his arc. Mm-hmm. But the more I think about it, the stupider it is, right?
Was it what is the general summary of it?
So his whole motivation for coming back and not dying was because he was too angry at Obi-Wan to die. So he wanted revenge on Obi-Wan for getting revenge on him for killing his master. Right? So, like, he got cut in half. He literally killed someone Obi-Wan was close to. Then he got wrecked, got cut in half, and then comes back just because he's mad that Obi-Wan sought revenge on him. So now he wants revenge.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, he was also trying to kill Obi-Wan during that fight, too.
Right.
But, you know, how dare Obi-Wan not only avenge his dead master, but also just fight for his life.
Right.
How dare he?
Especially when he was too stupid to just kill Obi-Wan there. Dude was just hanging on to this little light thing in this hole that probably shouldn't have been there. But he's just swinging away at his lightsaber, or at the floor with his lightsaber, instead of just killing Obi-Wan. So if anything, it is his fault. He should have died. He deserved that kind of stupidity. Should have forced him to die. That should have been the reason he died. He's too stupid to be alive. But it's okay. You know what? It's fine. Because I don't know if you knew this, but Darth Maul came back in season 7 of the Clone Wars, which is taking place during Revenge of the Sith.
Mm.
And you'll never guess who fights him.
Who?
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. Oh, I think I did see something about that, actually.
Yeah. You gotta love it. She's just the best, right? She's just
bestest.
The bestest.
I mean, even like you kind of mentioned when we first talked about Ahsoka, how, like, you know, her presence in Star Wars, she shouldn't even exist.
Right.
Like, I completely agree. Like, I don't understand how the Jedi Order, who doesn't trust Anakin, doesn't like him, kind of resents him, right? Resents, you know, Obi-Wan for kind of, and Qui-Gon for, like, forcing them to take him in. And yet they trust him enough to give him a Padawan?
Yep.
Like, I don't understand the logic there. Like, why? Like,
which
you would think if they don't trust him with that.
Which, by the way, he wasn't even given the rank of Master in Revenge of the Sith. So he may have been a Jedi Knight, but why is he training a Jedi like a kid? You know?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't know if it's ever been explicitly said, but my general understanding was that Jedi Knights are like soldiers. You know, they fight, they protect, they, you know, and they maybe provide security, things like that. And then Jedi Masters are the ones who teaches the Padawans. You know, that's how you recruit new people into the order. So it's like, yeah, I don't understand why a Jedi Knight, and like I said, especially someone who they don't even like and trust, you would give him the responsibility of training the next Jedi. You know,
right?
It just blows my mind.
It's funny to me, but you know, we're just a bunch of people who just hate everything that comes out. My favorite thing that people say is no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. I just think that's so funny because, I mean, it's not that we hate Star Wars, it's that we just want it to be good because we think it deserves to be better than what we've been getting.
Yeah, and like, I think we're also just passionate. You know, people who don't care about Star Wars, yeah, they're not going to, you know, oh, you did something that's insulting to the lore or whatever. Who cares, right? They're not a fan. But someone who's been a fan, you know, we're looking at, you know, 25 plus years. I mean, pretty much our whole lives. It's like, come on, you know, of course we're going to feel a certain way about certain continuity errors and things like that, you know?
Right.
I mean, even like you said earlier, where death has no meaning, I actually thought about The Last Jedi. How, like, you know, yeah, sure, in older movies, Jedi would die, they would become Force ghosts. But Force ghosts don't, like, I don't know, they provide some guidance, but they don't really interact with, like, the physical world. You know, they can't really help or do anything, you know?
Right.
But then what happens? The Last Jedi, Yoda, you know, Ghost Yoda brings down lightning, And it's like, if you could do that, then why didn't you help me during the fight? Why didn't you help me out in other ways?
Yep.
Send some lightning down during a fight.
So I also got another article that I love. Ahsoka is both solid Star Wars and proof that there's too much Star Wars.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think there's too much Disney Star Wars. So my thing is, I didn't really read this article. To be honest, I'm kind of getting burnt out by this, but when you really think, how do I want to say this? It's not good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, they went out of their way to come up with their own continuity, their own stories. They wanted to make original content for Star Wars. So we're just going to bring back Thrawn. We're possibly going to bring back
the heir to the Empire.
Yeah. All right. Spoilers. Here's what we'll do. I'll just go. Hang on. Let me go in.
Well, I was going to say, if you want, we can. I have something else a little bit to talk about before.
Okay.
Again, major spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that, like, I agree. I think there is a little bit too much Star Wars, but I think the real problem is that it's too concentrated in one time, like one spot in time. Like everything seems to be the Clone Wars or between episodes like 3 and 4.
Yep.
Right, like that every somehow a million Jedi survived Order 66. Everybody and their mother, was alive during, the original trilogy. They just didn't help. Like I feel like,
they did say in this show that there were there weren't enough Jedi left. There weren't many Jedi left.
Oh yeah,
Remember
sure.
that?
Yeah, except for I mean, you could think of at least 3 or 4 examples of people surviving.
Ahsoka, Seer, Cal Kestis, Kanan Jarrus. Well, at the time of this show, Kanan Jarrus is dead. But we also got Luke. We got Luke training kids.
That's true. Baby Yoda. Ugh.
Baby Yoda.
But yeah, that's my thing. I think, if they were to, I don't know what I don't know. If they would diversify, so to speak, the timeline, meaning go back, hundreds or thousands of years, tell a story in Star Wars that has nothing to do with, the Jedi as we know it, tell something in the future, tell something in a distant, use characters that we haven't seen before. They have no interaction with the Skywalkers. They're just in their own pocket of the galaxy, it's such a big world, Star Wars, and they always focus on the same characters, the same exact points in time, right? Like I said, the same time periods. Clone Wars in between 3 and 4. That's typically the 2 spots. And I think, you get burnt out. How many times can we see the same thing, It's like, oh, we got to escape the Empire. It's like, dude, we've seen this a million times. Why don't you, again, take us anywhere else, show anything else,
Yep.
You can have a
Mandalorian the fact that the galaxy is so small.
Yeah. And you can have the Mandalorians. That's cool. Have a Mandalorian show take place anywhere besides, literally right after episode 6, dealing with Baby Yoda and Luke and Ahsoka. Take it somewhere else, It's a big galaxy out there, man.
And that too, because it's such a big galaxy, it's a problem when you have cameos in everything they do. Yeah. There have been those Star Wars shills on YouTube complaining that there were no cameos in the Andor series. Now, I don't know. I haven't watched the Andor series. I don't care about the Andor series. to be completely transparent, the only reason why I watched Ahsoka was just for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
I don't care anymore. You know, and it used to be. Now, you said that you kind of agree there is too much Star Wars. Yes and no. I think there's too much Disney Star Wars because think about it. Back in the early 2000s, we got at least one Star Wars video game a year. We had a plethora of Star Wars books come out. We have had even that 2D animated Clone Wars series that ran for like 3 seasons that was leading into Revenge of the Sith. We had all this stuff played out. And we were learning all these different stories, some taking place during the Clone Wars, others taking place like a couple thousand years before the Phantom Menace. You know, it's just, how did we go from not having enough Star Wars to now we get way too much? It's because everything's the same. It's because all these characters are just interacting with each other, and it doesn't feel like a big galaxy anymore. You know, it's easier for them to do it for Marvel because it's not really a big well, it is, but primarily they all take place on Earth, right? But even then, you didn't see Iron Man show up in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. You know, you didn't get all these cameos in Guardians. There were no cameos in Guardians of the Galaxy that I know of, or that I could think of, aside from Thanos. But the first Guardians movie was the first time we ever heard Thanos speak.
Yeah.
Outside of that, we have not seen an Avenger in those movies. Why? Because they're fucking far away. You know? It just blows my mind.
Because, yeah, and like you said, the old EU, I mean, you know, there was a bunch of different books and comic books and whatever. But you know what? They took place in all across the timeline. Like you said, some of them, like the Knights Old Republic, like 5,000 years before, before the movies. You know, then you have, you have stuff that, what is it? I think the Legacy comics there's like 130 years after the movies with Cade Skywalker. And, of course you have things in the middle and, follows Luke's, adventures right after defeating the Empire, 40 years after. You have stuff in between episodes 1 and 2. I mean, there's just, books and comics. It was spread out across the entire Star Wars timeline, And you said not even including the fact that a lot of it, they also did things that had nothing to do with, like the Skywalkers and like the major characters that we see now. Yeah. Like instead of getting an Obi-Wan show, maybe we could have got something else, right? Anything else. I mean, there's so much more.
See, you can do an Obi-Wan show, but you're just going to have him meditate the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah. Now, it doesn't make sense.
I actually really loved the Kenobi book. I thought that was really, really damn good. Because it delves in the thoughts of Obi-Wan and how he's feeling after having to kill Anakin. He didn't actually kill him. He doesn't know that he's around, but like he had no knowledge of what was going on. There was actually a moment in the book where he notices these guys, and it's just like they're wearing this white armor, and it was described as looking very similar to the clone troopers, but like different. It wasn't like the same armor, basically saying that those are the stormtroopers. He didn't know what they were. He didn't know what that was all about, So it was stuff like that. But, of course he's just going out and he goes on this epic space adventure, which we called it. We knew that was going to happen. We knew he was going to go on this epic space adventure It just so happened he had to get Leia back, leaving Luke unprotected.
Yep. It's his one mission. Look after Luke.
Yep. It's unreal. It's insulting to the real Star Wars fans, the ones that actually had invested their time and energy and money into a franchise only for them to just destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just that's it. Like, like we've already said, but it's just crazy that, they buy Star Wars, which is this massive franchise. I mean, again, so many books and comics and, so much future potential, and
Right.
they just stick to the same boring stories, and they don't even tell them right.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad. I mean, look at now the future, right? They're bringing back Rey and Finn, right? They're making.
Well, we know about Rey. I don't know about Finn, though. Do we know that?
I know he said he'd want to. Maybe they didn't.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to. But that's just me. But with that being said, I feel like we should go into spoilers.
Ooh, okay.
So let me pull something up right quick before we do that. Whoops, not that one. I think this is kind of funny. Got a bunch of spoilers. Don't worry, guys. We are all about the spoilers. So,
spoiler.
So, we're going into spoiler territory now. I like this right here. Okay, so yeah, spoilers. Like these kind of spoilers. We're no mechanics or anything like that. But, that's the best I could do for right now. Oh God, we're so professional. But yeah. What are your thoughts on the epic first two episodes?
All right. Well, yeah. So, I'm trying to think how to say this. Should we break? I guess we should try to run through it a little bit. Because, for example,
how much we can remember.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the very start of it with the opening crawl already annoyed me. It was so lazy, and I was just like, this is like, it's like I feel like they, I don't know which one to call it. Yeah, I guess lazy. I was going to say, like, they tried to mimic, the traditional, of course, Star Wars crawl, but it was just so half-assed. I mean, it was red text. It wasn't even like center, and the music, of course, was different. It was just, I was just even the first opening moments, I'm like, I can already see what I'm getting into with this show. I already don't like it.
Yeah. Now I will say, I don't want to talk too negatively about Ray Stevenson, considering he did pass fairly recently. But I will say, his character, I feel like he has potential. They're gonna cuck him at some point in this series, probably in the next episode or two. But one thing that kind of annoyed me with the intro was they show up, and the captain of the ship was very suspicious about them showing up. It's like, oh, it's an old Jedi code, and he's just like, that's weird. Let's let them on the ship.
Yeah, why not?
Let them fly in our hangar, and then we'll talk to them there. They come out with their dark ass robes and all that stuff, and surprise, they die. Like,
no.
But like, there was this hallway scene of, I don't know what. God, they ever since Rogue One, they wanted to do the hallway scene. Oh my God, it's the best thing ever. But like, the problem is, these guys are just firing like crazy, just spamming their blasters on this dude, and he does one single motion, just like that, and for whatever reason, they just start aiming for the light. Like, now I'm convinced they are just aiming for their lightsabers, not themselves, you know, not the actual people they're trying to kill.
Yeah, like I remember in the, you know, like prequels especially, where it's like, you know, I mean, it sounds funny, but, you know, they would like move the lightsaber because, you know, the shots are being fired in different parts around them.
Right.
They got to deflect it. But here he, I mean, quite literally would like move his lightsaber like an inch like this. And he would just be blocking a bunch of shots because they would always shoot in the same place. And it's like, come on, guys, you know, like at least try to make it look like you're trying to kill him, you know?
Right. But I don't know. There was just a lot. It felt like everyone was just in it for a paycheck. It didn't feel like anyone really wanted to be there. It was just boring. It was boring throughout. Sabine was kind of okay. I know you don't know much about her, but she was kind of okay. The actress that plays her, she was all right. Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Rosario Dawson. They're not. They don't do these characters justice. They just don't. Yeah, it's just it's all boring. That's the best way I can describe it. Is it's just boring.
And even when they try to make something, I don't even know, like clever or, you know, interesting, it's just laughable.
Right?
Like the Indiana Jones thing.
Yeah. When at the beginning when Ahsoka gets she's trying to get that star map out. It's like this big elaborate puzzle. And all she does is slightly turn the thing. She closes her eyes because, you know, she's a Jedi. She can sense it, right? But all you would have to do is turn it slightly and see it lights up on the wall to know, okay, that I'm doing something right. You know, it felt very video gamey, but they made it so where like only she could do this. Only she could figure this out. Look, isn't she so smart?
Yeah, like they literally had a scene where she's like you said, she closes her eyes and she's trying to find the perfect spot to twist the you know the thing. But it's like practically when you look at it, like if you turn it in the right space, like, you know, spot, the light across from it like lights up. So it's like you don't even need that. You can literally just turn it randomly until you see it light up and say, "Oh, okay, cool, we're good."
Right, much like a video game.
Yeah. So it's just hilarious. It's like three pillars, and they act like it's like this big, you know, puzzle that she solved. And, you know, you have like the droids like outside waiting for her because she figured it out. It's like, dude, anyone could have figured it out. Anyone. Yeah. 2 seconds.
And I hated when she fell back through the hole and the droids are all standing there, and it's very cartoon-like. Where like you see the lightsaber cutting through and cutting a hole around the droids so they fall back down. You know, it felt very cartoonish. I hated that. I absolutely hated that. If you really wanted to show something cool, you would have just had her just flipping around, like slicing these droids up. But no, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, like she has 2 lightsabers. And she's, you know, skilled and like, yeah, why not have her? Yeah, like you said, doing flips and force pushing and
In the show, in the Clone Wars and Rebels shows, you see her go really fast. Like she's super nimble, she's super fast in her attacking. You know, why wouldn't you do that? Right? It just blows my mind. But
I'm also a little confused about, like, so I guess when she destroyed, like, so the robots exploded to the point where it just exploded, like, because that was a big explosion.
It was a nuke.
Yeah, like I was trying to figure out, I was like, did they set up like a trap for her, or did the robots just explode with that much force? I mean, that's insane.
No, that's how they are. They blow up with that much force. That's just how it is. I just couldn't believe that. I'm like, it was just so dumb.
It was literally mini nukes. I was like, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just wiped out that entire city or ruins or whatever that was. And even then, she got so far away from it, and she's running. She's not even running that fast, by the way, but she's running, and it's still like they still barely got out of there. When she gets on the ship, they almost died.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I understand that maybe they explode and, you got to get away, but that is insane.
Yes.
Like you said, that was like borderline, like city level, leveling a city, insane.
Yep. And then what else happened? Well, again, it's been so long since I watched Rebels. I don't remember Sabine being force sensitive in any way. I don't remember her training to be a Jedi. Maybe she did. I honestly cannot remember. But I don't remember her being force sensitive or training to be a Jedi. So I thought that was very, very interesting to me that they would choose to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird because, I didn't watch it, so I obviously have no idea. But
right,
yeah, it was kind of weird because she also, I think, has a Mandalorian past too.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of mentioned something.
Yeah, she's a Mandalorian.
That. So yeah, I guess she's. I mean, who knows? Maybe they did mention it because her lightsaber is also. That's not her lightsaber, right? Isn't it?
No, Ezra gave that to her.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember her actually being. Because I think I remember her getting, she had the dark saber. I remember that. Then lost it somehow. Yeah, I really don't remember, but here's the thing. So at the end of season 4 of Rebels, which is the series finale, Ezra and Thrawn, they got shot. So, I guess they were on this ship or something, and they were fighting, and all these space whales covered the ship, and they got shot just into space, and they were never seen again. So, this show established that they went to go looking for Ezra, but they don't tell you when. So Ahsoka and Sabine went to go look for Ezra and Thrawn, but they don't specify when that is, because before they show them setting off, there's a montage of where the characters ended up during the essentially the original trilogy. Some fought on the Battle of Endor. At least 2 of them fought on the Battle of Endor. But it's like, where was Ahsoka and Sabine at the time? Because if they're implying that they left after that, so what were they doing then? Also, how does Ahsoka know Luke necessarily? I don't recall them ever meeting, but yet somehow she knows who Luke is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what was that the Book of Boba Fett? She met him.
That might have been the Book of Boba Fett. It was. I'm pretty sure it was, because she shows up in The Mandalorian season 2, but it was just her. Luke shows up at the end of season 2, whereas she showed up at in the middle section. I think the second or third episode. I think at the third episode she showed up in season 2 of Mando, and we see her in the Book of Boba Fett, because that was the whole arc where what's his face Din Djarin went to take the chainmail to Baby Yoda. But Ahsoka was kind of helping Luke out with building the new Jedi Order, the school or whatever, on whatever that planet was called. I can't remember, but yeah, they never really explained that.
Because yeah,
So,
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I guess, like, obviously, sure. She probably heard of some kid named Skywalker who took down the Empire,
right.
and I guess she pieced it together. But it's still kind of weird. It's like, how does she even know where to find him?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, again, I haven't really seen it. I've seen clips, but I think when she shows up in The Mandalorian season 2, doesn't she already kind of hint at knowing Luke? Or knowing at least where he is? Like, doesn't she say, like, oh, there's a place for Baby Yoda that he can learn how to be a Jedi? And, like, you know what I mean? She kind of already hints at knowing where Luke is and what he's doing.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to watch it again. But I think, again, could be wrong, but I think that, I think she kind of says something along those lines. Like, oh, yeah, there's a place, that you could take him. Like, I can't take Baby Yoda, but there's a place for him that he'll learn how to be a Jedi, implying that she knows where Luke is and who he is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not going to lie. I have no fucking clue what's going on in this show anymore. Or in this series. It's just, I don't think they have a concept of any sort of timeline because they seem to be contradicting themselves. They actually retconned one of their books, at least one of their books, because it's supposed to show how Ahsoka got. So in this one book, Ahsoka has 2 blue lightsabers. You see how she gets her 2 blue lightsabers. I don't know. I haven't read it. I don't know how she does it, but from what I hear, that was supposed to take place somewhere between episodes 3 and 4. But in season 7 of the Clone Wars, when she meets with Anakin again, he presents her with the 2 lightsabers that are both blue. So they can't even keep to their own continuity.
Yeah, like, oh, jeez. Well, that's what I noticed about that's what I noticed in the Ahsoka show. Like that who was that one guy? I think he was the voice actor, right? For the character. He was like the mayor or the chancellor or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Clancy Brown.
Yeah, like it's funny. He said, "Oh, it's been several years." I was like,
several years.
I'm like, several? How many exactly? I'm curious.
Yeah.
You could tell they have to dance around it because they know whatever number they say, it's not going to make any sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, because then they give an exact number of years, and then people are going to be like, okay, so how many of those years were spent looking for Ezra, and when did they stop?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they stopped anywhere before or during the original trilogy, then people are going to be like, well, why? Why weren't they there? Why weren't they helping when the Empire was at its peak?
Yeah, like even if Ahsoka didn't know about Luke or Obi-Wan or Yoda, like, she didn't know about the Jedi surviving, even just joining the rebels in general, like, you would think she would join them to help.
Right.
You would think she would do something, whether it's fight Darth Vader or try to reason with him, but do something to get to Anakin. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you would also think that Cal Kestis would want to get together all the fucking Force-sensitive children, but he just destroys all that. They can go their own way. They'll be fine. I promise. They'll be okay.
Nah, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yep.
And it's like, I just, they want to talk about how there's so few of them left. Where, how? Like, we've seen them. You can't even tell us that there are so few left. Like, why are you lying? We know.
There's so few. They're so scattered. It's like, but don't you have a map that literally shows you where they are?
Yeah. Well, they did. He destroyed it, but yeah. I don't get it. And now now we're going to be getting, there was that rumor that you told me about where Galen Merrick, Star Killer from The Force Unleashed, could potentially be canonized in Disney Star Wars.
Possibly. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I think, personally, I think that's who Snake Eyes was in that show. With the mask and everything.
Yeah.
I think that was him.
Probably. I told you when we watched it, like that mask, like it looks similar, if I remember correctly. It looks similar to Force Unleashed 2's like DLC skins. One of the DLC skins for Star Killer.
Kind of. Not really though. I mean, he wasn't really wearing. If you're talking about the full on like mask that he was wearing, not the hood from the second game, but he was wearing this mask, but it was very reminiscent of Darth Vader a little more than that, but it wasn't black. It wasn't jet black like that was. But I don't really know anymore. All I know is if they do that, that's going to piss me off. You know what I mean? Whatever the reveal is, because it's going to be a familiar face. There's no way. Seeing as they just announced that Galen Merrick is going to be in this show, potentially, it makes me believe that's what's going to happen. Either way, it's going to be a familiar face, whether it's a clone of Luke or whatever. It's a familiar face. It's only going to be there for a reaction. It's not going to make sense. It just won't.
Yeah, it's just like, well, I was seeing comments too, like some people were saying where they were like, oh, it'd be cool because you'd have Anakin's apprentice fighting Darth Vader's apprentice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh God, like it's I just don't like it at all. I like the idea of Star Killer. He's fun, but I don't know if it makes sense in the context of this fighting Ahsoka, and it's just weird.
Right. I mean, it's their idea of. So, I think it's funny. They're basically treating this like Marvel at this point, where it's like, yeah, it's our own stories and we want to do our own thing, but we're going to bring in some characters and some familiar faces from the EU stuff, to get people. And honestly, I was also kind of thinking, what if this was Mara Jade? You know what I mean? I don't think it is, but if that were like a crazy theory, that's one of the crazier theories that I have personally. If that was Mara Jade, I would just lose my shit.
So that's it. I'm done.
I almost guarantee you that is going to happen at some point. They're going to bring in Mara Jade, maybe not on this show, but somewhere else. Mara Jade's coming back. I almost guarantee you that. Yeah,
probably. Well, another thing too is that I guess you didn't, so I'm not going to go into it like actual spoilers, but if you read the Thrawn trilogy, like there is something that happens that like I feel like that they might bring into this show.
Yeah.
If anyone who's read the books, I'm sure you'll know, especially the third book, that what I mean? Like they do something that it's like I feel like they'll probably bring that into the show. And I didn't like it in the book. I feel like I'm not going to like it here, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I
mean, I think I know what you're talking about. Does it have to do with clone? Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's the thing. They're going to take elements from Heir to the Empire, like the Thrawn trilogy. It's going to happen. Yeah, I don't even know. But I do also want to talk about how Sabine got stabbed and then didn't die.
Yep. Yeah.
So basically, Disney, if it weren't for Disney, a lot of these characters would probably be dead or stay dead. So, because George Lucas decided to definitively say Qui-Gon is dead, you know, we're supposed to just praise Disney now. Disney is the savior of every character. If Disney was around when George Lucas was making the prequels, Qui-Gon would still be alive. George Lucas is a villain at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, I mean Count Dooku would just be, his head would just be, be rolling around angry,
He got little spider legs on his on his neck.
So too angry to die.
But like, I don't understand it anymore. Death used to mean something in Star Wars. It used to mean, there was some weight. There was emotional weight. Like when Qui-Gon died, that was an emotional moment because Obi-Wan had that attachment to Qui-Gon, and Anakin had that attachment in like a fatherly like sense, like a father. He was basically like, I guess, the grandfather, if you will, to Anakin. He looked up to him. He was the first Jedi he ever met. And
well, yeah, I think Qui-Gon was definitely like a father figure to him because Anakin didn't even have. I mean, he was born from the Force, so he didn't even have like a father or anything like that.
Right. So it's really frustrating when someone who's not even intact with the Force, in tune with the Force. It's frustrating to me when I see that they survive a lightsaber stab wound, especially when it's clean through like that. What's the point in doing anything in Star Wars anymore? What's the point in watching it if there's no emotional weight? I mean, how many characters have, died and then come back?
Yeah, like it's one thing if she got cut or even slashed and, maybe, she was far enough away that like it cut her, but it didn't like actually, kill her, like damage her enough, right? Like then okay, fine. But I mean, this, like you said, the shot is from her behind her and you see the lightsaber go all the way through.
Yeah.
Like clean right through. I mean, hitting, I don't know what her liver, her lungs, whatever the hell. I mean, I'm not like a doctor, but I mean, there's so many vital organs I would imagine that hit.
Right.
And on top of that, they kind of move it a little bit too when like it's not even just like a stab and that's it. It's like it's kind of there and moving a little bit. I can't even imagine all of the damage that it does.
Well, I think it's funny because she could have just killed her. Just one quick little stab, and then like shifted to the right or the left or whatever, or up or down, could have killed her. Just now, got to run away. Oh, shoot, another woman. I heard another woman. That's a woman-on-woman crime.
Yep.
And then she just runs away.
But it's true. It's like, dude, you have, because like she even takes like half a second to stab her because she kind of sees like Ahsoka and then she turns around and like stabs her.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you just finish the job? Like, finish the job. Like you said, it takes like an extra second to just like stab her again or something. I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't, you would just let her go.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, we know why Sabine's coming back. I almost guarantee you she's going to be the one to turn this chick back to the good side or make her see that her master's actually the villain here. We're already seeing her kind of doubt him in just 2 episodes. So,
well, maybe I can't tell with her face. I don't know what.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what she's feeling, but
she looks dead.
Like you said, I didn't even think about it when you said earlier. Like, did she even blink? Is there any scenes, any shots of her blinking?
No, seriously, I don't think she blinks once in these 2 episodes.
I don't think so. Oh God.
Oh man. Yeah. She doesn't emote well, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't really think there's any. I keep trying to think about it. I don't think there's anything else worth talking about.
Yeah, not really. I mean, there's a couple. There's like little things like during the fight sequence at the end of episode 1. Like I even mentioned, like I don't understand the power scaling here. You know, like
right.
Like you said, like you didn't even know if that one. What's her name again? Sabine. Sabine. Like why? You don't even remember if she was actually trained or not. But let's say she was. Like she wasn't trained a lot. You know what I mean? Like she
right.
Like it's just like funny when I was sitting there watching and they had this pretty, drawn out fight sequence. And I'm like, it seems like they're relatively evenly matched, like, I mean, maybe a little bit, maybe Sabine is a little bit on the defensive, but it seemed relatively equal. And it's just, I don't know. I just didn't understand the power, I didn't understand, I guess, like who, in terms of power, like who's where, like if Ahsoka showed up quicker, like would she have just easily destroyed the Dark Jedi chick, or would she have had a challenge? Like how, I mean, who's more powerful than who? It just doesn't really make sense, Well,
my thing is, so Kanan Jarrus in Rebels was a Jedi. He actually was a Padawan at the time of Order 66. How did he not pick up that she was force sensitive? For her being as old as she is, how did he not pick up on that? There are so many things I just feel are just left unanswered or unexplained, But I don't know. My head's hurting, but I do want to talk about. Get this shit out of here. So, at the end of the day, there is a massive Star Wars or massive Disney problem, right? I just feel that Disney has this issue where they want to just throw whatever sticks, There's rumors about them doing time travel in Star Wars now, which it was already introduced. I've always said, they're going to introduce it in this show, but it's already been introduced through the World Between Worlds and shit like that. Where Ezra, he goes through this portal that leads to the point in time where Kanan dies, and he had the option to kill him, but he didn't, right? He just didn't kill him. He let him die. He didn't save him, he just let him die. Because if he did that, it would have fucked everything up. But I feel like they're going to try and do it in this show. And that's going to contradict Rebels then, because Ahsoka's the one that said that, right? But from what I understand, there's going to be a certain fight on a lava planet, and she's going to be the one to fight him. So
that's the rumor.
Yeah.
So
I hope that's not true, but I wouldn't put it past them.
I wouldn't put it past them. I saw some people saying, "Oh, maybe they'll, travel back in time or whatever to try to fix the sequel trilogy." And I was like, I don't know about that. I think they'd go back. I think they would, if they were to go back in time, they would try to change what's already, the prequels, the originals. I think they would try to change that over their own sequel trilogy.
I do want to talk briefly about this, though. Mention this. So, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have stated in interviews about, this was before Mandalorian season 1 came out. They were saying about how the Mandalorian was going to sort of set the stage for the events of the sequel trilogy, right? There really hasn't been any reference to the sequel trilogy outside of Luke building his Jedi temple stuff. Which, by the way, thought we were retconning all that. You know, I thought Kathleen Kennedy was going to be fired. That was,
Oh, no,
2
it's
years
going to
ago?
happen any day now.
Yeah, any day now.
Yeah.
Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, they're the saviors of Star Wars, all right.
Oh, yeah, they're going to save it. They're going to change everything.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Of course they are. But, yeah, I kind of... Watching Ahsoka made me really reminisce the old days of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
How many... Have you played a whole lot of Star Wars video games?
I'm trying to think. Not really. I mean, of course, episode 3, but that's, tying to the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Force Unleashed, the Battlefront games, but not too much else.
God, you disappoint me.
I don't know. I can't do it.
So I remember, I guess my point of this segment is just, I want to reminisce about like the good old days of Star Wars, how much I loved Star Wars back then.
Mm-hmm.
I loved watching that 2D Clone Wars. It was very Samurai Jack-esque.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really cool, and it didn't ruin the canon of the prequels. It was just solid cartoon action, and it wasn't like over the top. I mean, well, kind of was over the top, but at the end of the day, it was a lot of fun to just watch, and as a kid, it's like we're watching this, and I remember the very last episode, Grievous kidnaps the Chancellor, and it ultimately shows like the battle over Coruscant, and stuff like that. And I was just like, man, and this is the last episode of the season. I didn't know it was the series finale at the time. So I was just like, I can't wait to see this. And I'm just like, should I just wait to watch the movie? Like I didn't, because Revenge of the Sith was right around the corner. I'm like, I don't know. Because I don't want them to reference something, just my kid brain was just running all over the place with this. But then my dad totally didn't take us out of school to see this movie.
Oh, totally did.
Yeah, he definitely
you were sick that day.
Right. I was very sick. I was actually at home dreaming that I went to see the movie. But I remember going in there and I was so excited to see this movie, but I was also wondering about the show. And then when it starts out, the opening crawl, it's like, oh yeah, Chancellor Palpatine was taken by General Grievous. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's so cool.
I just saw that.
Yeah. And it was one of the coolest things they ever did for me as a kid. Cause back in the day, we didn't know rumors weren't as big as they are now, and as a kid, it was one of the coolest things. Like back then it was a hell of a time to be a Star Wars fan. One of my favorite things to do was go into the toy section and look at all the Star Wars stuff, because they had a whole section, if not two. And it was just really cool to see all this stuff. Marketing, all the marketing was great. Like I said at the beginning, there was all this, all these video games that came out some of them were exclusive to one console or exclusive to the PC. And there were games that I just saw and I'm like, I really want to get that. And Star Wars Bounty Hunter, I remember because I got the Star Wars, the Clone Wars video game, which takes place directly after Attack of the Clones. And I remember in the extras, it had like 2 trailers, one for Star Wars Racer Revenge, which was literally just Mario Kart with Star Wars, with pod racing. And I wanted that, of course, because it was Star Wars. And then there was a trailer for Star Wars Bounty Hunter. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I watched the trailer and you're playing as Jango Fett. And I'm like, oh my God, I need this game in my life. And I never got it. Never did I get it. And it wasn't until 3 or 4 years ago when I actually bought the game, because it came out on the PlayStation, and I thought it was awesome. I'm like, oh my god, this, as a kid, I would have lost my shit playing this game. I would have loved it. I mean, granted, it wasn't easy. It wasn't the easiest game to play, but it was a lot of fun. I loved that. And I was just like, I can only imagine how I would have felt as a kid playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was just, God, what a time, you know? And
Yeah, I mean,
Battlefront, and
yeah, and like you said, even with like the toys, like as much as people want to criticize the first two movies in the prequel trilogy and like, oh, they weren't too good, blah blah blah. I mean, I remember there was a lot of hype going into Revenge of the Sith, and like you said, I mean, toys, posters. I mean, I remember going into, you can go into Toys R Us or even like Walmart. I mean, there was just things everywhere. I feel like nowadays it's like there's really not much at all. I mean, yeah, sure, I grew up, but even just walking around the stores, it's like the hype just really isn't there anymore. Star
Right.
Wars is just kind of dead. Because
So
it was huge.
Sorry, I actually didn't see this until just now, but Disinferno. I hope, yeah, Disinferno. What if this new galaxy has its own Jedi Order? I don't think that's impossible. I think that's very possible for this universe. If it's in a whole new galaxy, I think there could be a whole Jedi Order out there. The thing is, we've only ever been in this single galaxy. You know what I mean? So we don't really know what else is out there. And I think, to Disney's credit, I think that is something that could be explored. Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest with you, that's actually a really good question. It's something I never really thought about. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to what I was saying, where it's like, I think the Star Wars universe is just, there's so much potential. There's just so much room for anything. I mean, like you said, we've been, you travel to different planets throughout the movies and, whatever, but, like you said, it's pretty much in the same galaxy, it's pretty much under the same leadership of the Empire or whatever. It'd be curious to see what happened. If you travel like far enough away, I mean, maybe, why not?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's never been explored. That would be an interesting thing to check out, though.
Maybe they're similar but different. They have similar views, but obviously there's some differences, and maybe it's better, maybe it's worse. I mean, I think that's an interesting place to go. They won't do it, but it'd be interesting.
Well, no, I think that's what they already said in the show, or in this, I think it was the first episode, that I think they did say that Ezra and Thrawn were sent to a different galaxy. Ahsoka does say that.
Okay.
So I think that's an interesting thing to explore. The thing is, if they do that and they introduce like a character, like maybe they have a big new character that's going to be a very popular character, of course, I don't want to see that character show up in everything, because they already, the galaxy, the Star Wars, this galaxy that we're in now is already, supposed to be big, but they condensed it to where every character is just interacting with each other. We are always seeing Tatooine. We are always seeing, just Tatooine, really. But you know what I mean? The thing is, I feel like if they do that, they need to make the galaxy a lot bigger, because I'm so sick and tired of these characters just interacting with one another. It's almost like they're just down the street, from one another. And it's just so tiring. Like, I'm getting sick and tired of all this stuff. And like I said, about this Jedi Order in another galaxy, I think that is very possible. We won't know until they actually explore that. And I think we can all agree they're going to explore that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think that's going to happen. But that is a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm a little hesitant. I feel like if they did actually explore it, I kind of think it would be a similar situation to like Ahsoka, where it's like it's an interesting idea, but then they put this whatever this new character is, put them in everything,
Mhm.
and then it just kind of
Yeah.
gets drawn out.
Right. Yeah. The thing is, they really do need to stop relying on cameos. That's the biggest problem that they are facing right now. Well, I mean, one of the biggest problems. But yeah, I'd be interested to see other galaxies because I think that is fresh and that is new to an extent. It's just I want to see it feel different. I want the galaxy to feel. I don't want to see another Tatooine. You know, I don't want to see another Hoth or Endor. You know, do something else. But
yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd definitely. Well, I don't know. I'd watch it, but I mean,
yeah. Well, watching it and liking it's a different story. But I think, yeah, I think they need to focus on. They need to focus on telling a good story. They need to focus on just having these actors act like the characters. You know, I keep saying it. Hera and Ahsoka just don't do it for me in this show. You know, Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Rosario Dawson, they just seem very stiff, especially that new chick. What was it? Shin Haiti or something like that. You know,
yeah.
she just is so wooden, you know, like, I mean, again, she doesn't blink. I don't think she's blinked.
I think she blinks
once in these 2 episodes. So I don't know what her deal is. So
she doesn't even blink. Yeah. Well, yeah, because even during the fight, I mean, I remember them like clashing lightsabers, and again, her face is just as they're clashing, and it's like getting closer to her face, just like it's like, dude, have some. I think
emotion. Her eyes just got a little wider, but you know,
she almost blinked.
Wait, you're closing. They need to tell the camera guy to back away. She's about to blink.
She's about to blink. Turn away.
We just want her to look as uninteresting as possible.
Like, what is the direction? Like the notes the director gives for her? It's just like, yeah, just pretend like you're like a robot who has no emotions at all.
Yeah, maybe she is. Maybe that's going to be the reveal. She is just a robot. Wouldn't it be something?
Even though she uses the Force, I don't know how that would work.
You know what? Maybe she is Mara Jade.
My God.
What if that's Disney's version of Mara Jade? They just want to have a Mara Jade, so it's just like, yeah, call me Mar. You know, it's like Zendaya in Spider-Man. Just call me MJ. My name's Michelle Jones, but just call me MJ.
Call me MJ. Yeah. Yep. Even Ray. What's Ray? What? Ray Skywalker.
Ray Skywalker.
Sure, dude.
Yeah. Whatever floats your boat, buddy. It's unreal, dude. I just, yeah. But I miss the good old days of Star Wars. I remember getting the first Battlefront for my birthday. I love that game. I remember that. As soon as I got that, as soon as I finished opening up my presents and everything, I immediately went upstairs to play that game. I loved it. I thought it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to say what my favorite Star Wars game was. I really liked Revenge of the Sith. That was an awesome game. I really liked Jedi Starfighter. Oh my God, Jedi Starfighter was so good. What else was there? There was the Phantom Menace video game on the PS1. I loved messing around with that. Because that, I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but you could make choices. You play as Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and I think you play as Padme and Captain Panaka. you can make decisions in those games. I remember there. So you're going through Naboo. You have to protect the queen. You have to save the queen. You end up, or no, it was the level where you were trying to make your way to get the queen.
Mm-hmm.
And on your way, you can, if you go into this one house, there will be a woman. There will be a woman standing there, and you talk to her, and she's just like, "Oh, can you help me find? I don't know. I don't know what happened. My son was out in town, and then this attack just happened. Can you help me? You know, of course, me like this goes to show how much of a sick bastard I was as a kid. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll get it. You could either tell her fuck off, or you could just be like, yeah, no, don't worry, I'll get her, or I'll get it for you. And so I was looking for this kid. I finally found him, and he was just down the road. It wasn't even that hard to find him, but I found him, and he's like, "Oh, I lost my mom. I don't know. I'm too scared. I'll just follow me. I'll show you where your mom is."
What'd you do?
And I did. I brought him back. Okay, to my credit, I brought him back.
Oh, okay.
And they rewarded me with a health pack, a giant health pack. I think it was a giant health pack or something like that. But I didn't think that was good enough, so I got upset. And I killed them all. I killed them all in front of him, and then I killed him.
Oh my God. That would sound so fast. I was waiting. I'm like, tell me you didn't bring the kid back or something crazy.
No, I wanted him to see. Like,
he's got to see it for himself.
All right, listen. To be fair, I'm the victim because I feel like I should have been compensated more. And
I mean, just a med kit? Are you kidding me?
Right. Exactly.
And health pack? What do you?
I need like credits or something. I mean, times are tough in the galaxy, and if anything, they shouldn't have been there anyway. So, I mean, Naboo is kind of a shithole planet. So,
is it?
Well, I'm trying to justify this so I can look good. And they shouldn't trust strangers, right?
That's true.
And this Inferno, if you're still here, maybe you can help me out with this. But like, you shouldn't trust strangers.
That's true.
So if anything, that was a life lesson that they're never going to have to relearn.
I was going to say that they'll never. They can't even apply it because they're dead.
Yeah,
he's a life lesson. He'll die right now, though.
And it's just, listen, I'm a teacher.
Yes. Yep. Anytime we play any kind of multiplayer game, and our teammates actually trust us, it's like, how many times do we got to teach you this lesson? You can't trust strangers.
Exactly.
Do it.
Oh, and there was also the Auto Gunga. When you go to Auto Gunga, it's like the second level in the game. Or no, the third level in the game. So you follow Jar Jar Binks to get there, of course, and that level was so annoying. I hate that level. I still play this game, by the way. I might stream that one day. But
yeah, why not?
You go to Auto Gunga, and Qui-Gon tells you, like, look, I sense that you look down on these people. Just be nice to them, whatever. Well, how am I supposed to be nice when there is a child Gungan, a child that walks up to me and it goes, a monster, help me, and runs away. Of course I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be offended by that.
I'm hurt.
Oh, I get upset and I chase him down and I kill him.
Literally proving him right.
Yes. But the thing is,
I'll show you a monster.
If you kill too many Gungans in that level, they will kill Jar Jar. And you have to restart from your last save.
I was going to say, like, I mean, is that a bad thing, though?
No. If you want to play through the game, because I
Mhm.
want to see what else they have to offer,
Yeah.
and then it's so funny because once you play as Qui-Gon, you're on Tatooine, and you have to find a way to get parts for Anakin's pod racer, and if you don't have enough money for these for like these parts, like there will be specific people that'll sell the parts to you, but you have to have certain credits or whatever.
Mm.
Maybe they're not Republic credits, but they you can kill the vendors, right? You can kill the people so you can get the parts for free. But then Anakin, you go up to Anakin, he's like, I don't want to help a murderer like you. So naturally, that upsets me because I feel like I've done a lot for this kid already. So I kill him.
I'm offended.
Yeah. So I killed him, and I had to
galaxy.
restart the level. But
you saved the galaxy. I mean,
yeah, I know, right? Take that, Palpatine. Get fucking wrecked.
I foiled your plan.
Yep, it was me, Perry. It was me all along.
Me the whole time. But yeah, no, I remember I still would love to have Force Unleashed 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they did it right, of course. But yeah, I think the way Force Unleashed 2 ended, and that kind of cliffhanger, it's like, oh, come on,
So I thought the gameplay for the game was fun, but I have two major issues. One, the game is too short, right?
Yeah.
I can beat this game in an afternoon. I have beaten it in an afternoon. Maybe not that, but you get what I'm saying. I beat it in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And the story's not that great.
Especially the second one. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm just talking about the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of Starkiller being cloned.
Yeah, and Force sensitive too. Like a Force sensitive clone is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Because if you could do that, then why not, make a clone of like Anakin? You know what I mean?
Right. Why not? At that point, you might as well just clone yourself.
Yeah, you can clone Anakin, clone Palpatine. I mean, you can have clone Yoda. You can make an army of like super powered Jedi, like Sith. You know what I mean?
My interpretation as to why he wanted to train Starkiller was to have someone be his apprentice so he could take down the Emperor. So he could actually, because it's established, and I know you haven't played it, but it's established in Knights of the Old Republic when you go to the Sith Academy. It's a common thing that's not really spoken, where the master or the apprentice will always try to betray the master, So that to me is keeping in line with it. But when the Emperor finds out about it, he wants Starkiller dead, of course. And, the canon ending is that Starkiller dies, until the second game, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I always took that. So I view the first game as canon. I don't view anything Disney's done canon. Certainly not. But that I definitely view as canon. But the second game, I like playing it. It's just when it comes to the story, I'm not a fan. Yeah.
Well, that's why, at least for me, I like the Force Unleashed games personally as like not canon, like non-canon, but they're fun. Mm-hmm. Like it's an interesting story to not necessarily a what if, but it's an interesting story of like, well, yeah, like Darth Vader has a secret apprentice. What cool things can come from it,
Right.
But yeah, personally, I don't really try to keep it. I don't try to make it fit in the canon of the movies and stuff. I just like it as its own thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
But the third one, I mean, yeah, obviously it depends what they would do, but I know there were, early stages of development for the third one where they were gonna, right? I think they were gonna make Darth Vader like escape and fight Star Killer, just easily defeat him.
Yeah,
because I guess the previous two games he's been kind of holding back Darth Vader. And so,
yeah,
like, yeah,
and
I think
I
there'd be some
like
interesting
that.
stuff.
I like that a lot. That definitely would have made it a lot of fun. They should have allowed that one to pass. That and Star Wars Battlefront 3. Those two games should have been greenlit. They should have just let them finish them, and that those two could have been the sort of swan song of an era, before Disney.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's just, but did you know Battlefront 3 was actually supposed to have a full-on story? And did you know they actually took that and made it a PSP game?
Oh, really?
I have it.
Wait, what game?
It's called Star Wars Battlefront Elite Squadron.
Elite Squad. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, so and it actually sticks to a very similar premise where you can go from fighting on the planet, and then you can get in a ship and fly up into space. They do that with the PSP hardware, and because there are missions that actually require you to take a ship and fly into space, and the story is the same. I actually looked at the leaked footage for the game, and all the cutscenes line up with the cutscenes from the PSP game, and I was like, wow, that's cool. Yeah. It's kind of weird because they cloned. So General Coda in The Force Unleashed 2 was saying you can't clone a Jedi, that it's impossible, but yet they apparently cloned a Jedi before that. And so there are two twins that are clones, and they're basically fighting in the Clone Wars, and it leads into Order 66, and then you're fighting. Then there's a mission or two between 3 and 4, and then you're fighting through the original trilogy, and then it also has missions that take place after the original trilogy. But it's this whole story where they're brothers, and one becomes a Sith. I think becomes a Sith. Yeah, because you become a Jedi at the end, by the end of the game. And yeah, you just have to fight him and kill him. But it was cool. It was all right. I mean, I would have liked to see it on the PS3. That would have been awesome. But yeah, that just never got greenlit. But they were able to sneak it into the PSP game. So I thought that was kind of
I mean, it's cool that we at least got something from it, like they can recycle what they were working on,
Right. Yep. But, yeah, I'm a big fan of Star Wars and what they've done lately. Like, there were so many video games that I played that I loved of Star Wars. Honestly, there weren't enough games that I would have played everything. If I had given the choice. But yeah, what Disney's done, it's just, we're lucky if we get a single video game at this point. Yeah,
and even that video game, it's like Jedi Fallen Order, which looks fun, but it follows the same same like a Jedi who survived Order 66. It's the same thing as always.
Yep.
But yeah,
but
I don't know.
I did want to get into this The Walking Dead video game. I mean, we already talked about it. Let me see if I can pull it up on. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube here real quick. I love this, but not in the good way.
Not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
It's something.
So, for anyone, they're coming out with a Walking Dead video game. It's called Destinies or something like that. Excuse me. It's called The Walking Dead Destinies. And the premise of this game is you can actually alter the story. And it doesn't look good at all. Now, the premise is interesting. You know, as you'll see in the trailer, you can actually have it so instead of Shane dying in season 2, you can have Rick dying in season 2. Crazy stuff like that. However, the graphics remind me of the Lord of the Rings Golem. And if you go on my YouTube channel, if you go on this channel, you will find me playing the entire game on YouTube, you know, and I hated every second of it. It was one of the worst games that I played. I don't recommend it. But the graphics look very similar to that, which isn't a good thing. And the voice acting is really bad too, because instead of getting the actors from the shows, which I kind of get, like they have imitators, you know, and this does not look good. So I figured it'd be fun just to make fun of it. So that being said, I will share my screen. You'll just have to let me know if there's audio, because I'm not sure if there's going to be audio or not.
Okay.
Now we'll
it's
see
still loading.
All right.
Okay, now I see it at least. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
for you.
Yep.
Now don't pay. No one is going anywhere.
Oh, come on.
Last thing we need is for everyone to be running off in the dark.
Running off in the dark.
I'm keeping this group together. Alive.
Alive.
I've been doing that all along.
Supposed to be Shane, because I can't tell.
Wait, what?
Shane or Rocky? Because it sounds starting to sound a lot.
So I can't really. You're breaking up all of a sudden.
I'm breaking of course. Probably not going to play well. It's probably not going to play well.
No matter what.
It seems fine. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this.
I didn't ask for this.
Keeps buffering me. Deal with it.
I killed my best friend for you people. Best friend for you people. Well, go on. There's the door. Let's see how far you get.
Oh my god.
I like that a lot. You just slowly fit his neck.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna play it there, but it doesn't look. It really does. I think it's the everyone's gonna want that they see the trailers now.
Your audio seems like it's breaking up some. Like wait, try talking now, maybe. Yeah, no, it's still breaking up. It's
Really?
Okay, now it sounds better.
Okay, we're good now.
Okay, yeah, now it's good. Yeah.
Good. Oh God, that looks terrible.
But yeah, like you said, it's like that. It's a cool idea. Like, yeah, what if Shane killed Rick in season 2? You know, and he led and he kept going. But yeah, I mean, it's just even the execution. Like you said, it's like so slow as he's pulling the knife away, the gun away, and
yep,
funny. And oh yeah, the voice acting, that was hilarious.
Oh God,
I'm keeping this group together, alive.
Coral,
yeah, Coral. Oh man,
God. But I'm curious to see where this is going to stop at, you know, because I mean they can't tell the whole series, can't tell everything, and
yeah,
because it's like what 12 seasons, 10 or no, like 10.
Well, it's 11 seasons,
11.
But the last 2 seasons were both extended. So like you could put like like based on number of episodes, you kind of could make another season out of it.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And not including the spin-off shows. There's like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. I stopped watching it.
Yeah, I tried, but it got too much.
I did. I did genuinely try, but I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, it just never ends. I can't get invested in a story that just never ends.
Right.
You know? Like I need some kind of conclusion.
And that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, it looks the premise is cool. Like I want to see that. I want to play that game, but I don't want to play it for the right reasons. I don't want to play it for the reasons they want me to play it. I just want to see how bad it is at this point. I mean, don't get me wrong. I will gladly fuck up a good story. I mean, we've played Detroit Become Human. You know,
God.
we ended that bitch's story like at the start of the game. We never saw her again throughout the rest of the game, but we were efficient in it because we just cut the story off there. You know, we're like, all right, you know, we got work in the morning. Let's finish this game. Let's do as many as soon as possible.
Yeah, I remember at the end of that game, it like gives you like, you know, it tells you what outcome you got and like what percentage of people got that outcome. And ours was like 0.01 or 0.001% of people. Yeah. We just played so bad.
Oh my God, that was fucking great. Yeah, I have no problem ruining a good story. Heavy Rain's one of my favorite ones to ruin.
Oh man.
That was funny. Good times, but yeah, I mean, we've been going for about a little over 2 hours. What'd I tell you?
Yeah, no, say planned for an hour, but hey, we got a lot to talk about, you know?
Yeah, that was good. And we got at least one viewer, you know?
Yeah.
I think things are looking up. Look at us.
I do have actually one more thing.
Okay.
I'm going to show quick, just to touch on. Let's see. So I don't know if you. Oh yeah, we'll wait for the screen to load. You have to accept it, Your Royal Highness.
Thank you.
But yeah, I don't know if you heard about this at all, but yeah, Destiny 2, Bungie, I guess, whatever, I guess the Lightfall DLC or something. I don't really play Destiny. But one of the cutscenes was actually basically taken from a fan art.
Oh no.
Yeah, and they didn't give him credit at first. Like there was a lot of backlash on Bungie because they didn't give any credit to the fan. And you could, when you look at the picture side by side, right, the fan art versus the cutscene, it's identical. I mean, that's like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you can't even make the argument of, oh, we just came to the same. We ended up drawing the same thing by accident, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
for
Something like that. You can't mistake that.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember that.
Disney's been doing that a lot, or they have done that a few times before.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, wow.
But yeah,
this was their new DLC.
Well, I mean, it was. I mean, what was the date say at the bottom there? It says June 20th.
Okay.
And I mean, like it was, a couple months ago. And I think from what I've heard, I think they did end up giving credit to the artist and trying to make it right after the fact. But it's interesting that it's like, if they didn't get caught, would they have ever given credit? Probably not. You know what I mean?
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. So it just shows like, very shady, very shady.
That just goes to show how creatively bankrupt they are.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's a cool art. Like, it's definitely a cool drawing. But it's like, if you're going to try to use it, at least give credit, Don't just take it and act like it was yours.
Or ask the person. Ask the person, like, hey, we really like this fan art. Would you mind if we pay you money, can we use this? That's all they had to do. That's the thing. It's money.
But yeah, it's just greed. Same thing with Netflix. They take clips and then just, copyright strike it.
Yep. That's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I figured just point that out. I was like, oh man, I can't even. And again, I think they've corrected it at this point and like apologized and whatever, but still it kind of exposes. It's like, if they didn't get caught, would they have actually done the right thing?
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's really scummy. It's really shitty,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I really don't give a shit about Destiny. When it came out, I was like, yeah, I kind of want to check that out. It's Bungie. Everyone loves Halo. Mm-hmm. I never played Halo at the time.
Oh. Excuse me.
But yeah. After the first Destiny game, I didn't care about Destiny at all. But from what I hear, it's got a following. It's just not for me.
Yeah, Destiny it's kind of similar to The Walking Dead, where I feel like it's fun and it has like, obviously a lot of great things, but it just never ends.
Yep.
Like they keep adding more expansions and more things to grind for and more this and raids, and it just never ends. You never get that satisfying, that feeling of like completion,
Right.
It just literally never happens. And I can't personally, I can't stand that. Like, you know what I mean? I can't watch shows that never end, or I can't read stories that never end. I need an ending,
Right. Or I can't rewatch a show, Game of Thrones, that has a bad ending. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like they have all this build up and then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And I don't want to start reading the books because we don't have an ending.
Right.
I will write them.
Exactly. I mean, and that's kind of the thing, right? One of the reasons why authors of these big novels like J.K. Rowling, or just throwing out J.R.R. Tolkien, you know, movies and other physical media, that'll get you into the book that it's based on, you know? So like Harry Potter got a lot of people to read the books. Like the movies got a lot of people to read the books. Now, granted, there was a huge following for the books beforehand. I mean, there's a reason they made a movie out of it.
Yeah.
You know, of course, that's always going to be the reason why they make a movie adaptation. But when you really think about it, how many more people did you get that have actually read the books after watching the first few movies? You know, I don't know a single person that wasn't reading the books until they saw the movies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Game of Thrones, same thing. It got a lot of people to read the books. Thankfully, I didn't start the series. I wanted to in the worst way, but you know, at the end of the day, I felt cheated with the last season. And now that we know that George R.R. Martin isn't even finished with the books, it's like, why do I even want to read it? Why do I even want to start?
Yeah, exactly. It's like in the last book, I mean, it's been what, like 12 years or something since he's still writing it. Like, I don't want to start the series because it doesn't have an ending.
Right. And the problem is he's not the healthiest person.
Yeah, and
as sad as that sounds, he's not the healthiest person. And to be fair, neither am I. But at the end of the day, I mean, how old is he? Like 60, 70?
He's 74.
74. So
yeah,
it's kind of sad. And for him, you know, I've said this before, but for him to gaslight the fans and for him to be like, well, all my projects are important, just as important to me. It's like, well, you're prioritizing your other stuff. Like, I almost didn't buy Elden Ring because he was the one that wrote the lore around that game. I want to say story, but it was around their story. But he's the one that wrote like all these characters into the game when he was saying how he was going to have all this time to work on his books because this was at the height of COVID. He self-quarantined. He told us this on Twitter and Instagram, you know, like, hey, I have enough time to write these books now. I'm going to write a page a day. You know, I'm writing both of these books at the same time, simultaneously.
Yeah, he even said, he's like, you know, what did he say? Like, you know, if I don't get done, you know, by the time the quarantine lifts, like, you know, you have my permission to chain me up to my desk or something like that. You know, you could chain me up to my desk and I'll keep writing.
Right. And at the end of the day, it just doesn't seem like he really cares to finish it. And I guess I kind of get it, but we need an ending, especially the people who have read the books. They need to see it end.
Yeah, well, especially the long-term fans. Like, the first book, I think, came out in 1996. So, I mean, we're looking at almost 30 years. You know, people who've read the book, you know, the first book, have been a fan of this series and are anticipating an ending. I mean, that's a long time. You know, it's like, you know, it's only right to at least, you know, to end the series, you know, give us closure, you know.
Right. I mean, granted, I don't want it to necessarily end the way that the show did, but you need to have it. You need to have an ending. You need to give us a definitive ending, something that's satisfying. Like you did all this stuff. You spent all this time killing off our favorite characters. Well, now the remaining favorite characters, we need to see satisfying conclusions to.
And the sad part too is that he's working on the 6th book called The Winds of Winter. But there's another book after that that's planned, A Dream of Spring.
Right.
So it's not even like, oh, finish this book and you're done with the series. It's like, no, there's still like, it took 12 years for this book, for Winds of Winter, still being written, and he has another book planned afterwards. So even if he gets this done, let's just say best case scenario by the end of 2023, which isn't going to happen. Like, we still have another book that we got to wait. I mean, who knows how long for that?
Yeah.
That's why it's sad and kind of morbid, but I don't think we're ever getting the conclusion.
No.
At least not from him. Maybe someone else will pick up, the story after,
but it's not going to be anyone in his family. He has no kids.
Yeah. And even if they do finish it, like, it's not, like, I'm sure they'll finish it the best way they can, but it's not his, like, story. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be his vision the whole way through.
Yep.
Which kind of sucks,
But on that depressing note, I think we're gonna have to end this. But I think this was overall a successful show. Anyone watched? I saw a couple pop in. And, it's awesome that you guys at least clicked on the video. And Dad, I hope you're proud of me now. But anything you'd like to say, Dan?
Just thank you for watching. I don't know if you want to talk about maybe some kind of schedule if we want to do this again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking right now, Sundays at 4:00. That might change because I think Sundays are a little weird to be doing this, but yeah, we'll see. It all depends on my other obligations. So, but yeah, we will keep you posted. You can find me. I don't know if I'll be able to share the link to my Twitter. I'll have to figure that out later, maybe in the next stream. But yeah, just look for that logo, Trash Talk, on Twitter. That's where I'm at. If you want to check that out, and I'll try to update that as much as I can. Other than that, I think that was pretty successful, more successful than I thought it'd be. So.
Yeah, a lot of fun. 2.5 hours just flew by.
Yeah, it sure did. But, yep, we will end it here and catch you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye.